Sam, are you in good nick? How have you gone in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, reasonably. I think probably a lot further ahead than I was the last couple of years. So body's feeling good, and yeah, just getting pretty excited now. Pretty heavy block at the minute, so just trying to get through that.
You're entering your third year. What have you learned? What are some of the differences you picked up in pre-seasons from years gone by?
Yeah, probably the first bit's the off-season, and just kind of how to handle that. And I think I did that a lot better this year, just with balance. But yeah, with the pre-season, I think I just noticed my body adjusting a lot more to kind of the standard of an AFL pre-season.
Are you stronger? You put on any weight?
Yeah, put on a couple of kilos, but I feel a lot stronger, and probably just took me a little bit to get used to carrying it, but now I feel like I'm running pretty well too.
How much more you not being creepy, but you're not quite big. How much more have you
2 or 3 kilos, yeah.
And what does that feel like when you're out there? How do you notice that when you train?
It's probably more just like a confidence thing now. Like I feel I'm stronger, so I guess in those contested situations, it's a good thing to know, kind of in the back of your head.
Does that excite? I mean, you're one of the league leaders in tackles last year. Does that excite you? What you might be able to do next physically?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other areas that I want to work on, but I think that'll help with them too. So yeah, I think being stronger, there's just no complaints there, but there's just a lot of other areas that I want to get better at.
What are the areas that you want to get better at?
I think probably getting the ball a little bit more to start and just backing myself. I think I probably did it a little bit more at the end of last year, but I think just doing that consistently, and it's probably more a mindset thing than anything.
How did you reflect on last year? I mean, such a breakout year personally, but how did you reflect on what you achieved?
Well, I think I learnt a lot to start. I wasn't in round one. It took me a little bit to kind of get into the team, but I mean, looking back, it was probably a really good thing for me. And I didn't want to leave it, I guess. And I think it just slowly, my confidence started to grow throughout the year, which, yeah, I think I'm carrying into the start of this season.
So you're a big goal setter. What do you hope to achieve then this year? Go take it to another level, I guess. But
I mean, yeah. Ultimately, that's what I want to do. But I think for the minute, it's a bit of a grind pre-season, and a lot of it is it's probably more team focused, to be honest. Like we've got a lot of things we want to work on, and it's just more that hard work kind of stage, but obviously practice matches, and we're starting to get into a little bit of match sims, so I can start to pull apart my game a little bit.
How are you seeing the progression of the group this pre-season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty noticeable just how much stronger everyone is. I think we've come a long way as well with game plan, everyone's size, the skills. Like I think we're in a really good position compared to where we were.
A few of the boys have talked about finding a balance with off-season. What does that look like for you? What does that sort of mean in terms of knowing when to go and when to hold back a bit?
Yeah, well, I mean, previous years there's been a lot of COVID. People couldn't get away, so I mean, going overseas or doing whatever people like to do, it's just refreshing. And I think my previous off-season, I've just spent all at home. But I kind of got to do a little bit of everything last year and then get back and have a good block of training with the boys before I got back. So I think that just put me in a good spot.
What did you get up to?
Just went back to Mafra, hometown, for a few weeks, and then just went to Europe with a few of the lads, and then come back here basically for the last month.
You were in Paris with Peds?
Yeah, Paris with Peds.
How did you go? You said you all tried a couple of snails, but you needed a bit of convincing.
Yeah, they didn't look very appetising, but no, they're actually pretty nice. I love garlic, so that's all it was.
On Peds, do you reckon, I guess, this is the year that he gets a consistent spot on the team? He's been looking pretty good in pre-season as that kind of smaller forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, and that's all up to the coaches, but Peds is in really good nick at the minute, and training really well.
As a man who loves a tackle, what do you think of Shane McAdams about 3 that he put in match them today? Yeah,
he's a powerful unit, Shane. When he hits hard. Not many slip away from him.
How do you reflect on Steve talked about your last year, but I mean, you look at from your first year to your second year, I think you doubled nearly every stat. I mean, you had twice as many kicks. Clearly your tackling was unbelievable. From a similar amount of games, I think it might have been 16 in year 1 and 17 in year 2. What was the key to that development, Sam, do you think?
Well, I think probably firstly getting into the midfield rather than kind of playing in that small forward role. I mean, like the stats-wise, it'll be different. Yeah. But it's probably just a confidence thing too, and took me a little bit to kind of get used to the game at this level. But I think slowly getting there.
And tackling, like, can you talk us through how you lead the league in tackling? Are you just right place, right time? Do you actively seek it out? Is it the first thing on your mind?
Not necessarily the first thing. I think the first thing is get the ball, but if you can't, then that's something that kind of just happens pretty instinctively. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, and it's just an effort, and that's something that I really like. I don't want to walk off the ground like I didn't try, so it's just one of those things.
Do you ever look at your other teammates and say, it just takes a bit of effort, fellas, if you wouldn't mind?
No, God, well, they've probably got the ball, that's why.
Is it fun? Do you enjoy hurting bloke?
No, I don't really hurt anyone, I don't think, but it's good. I do love a contest, and it's just that, like, it's a really competitive space when it's the ball's in the middle and you got to kind of make a decision. But yeah, I mean, you almost switch off. It just, instincts kind of take over.
You had a couple of rippers last year. The Geelong game from memory springs to mind, and I think the Sydney one, you were outstanding. A few of the highlights that you remember from last year, things that you think, okay, that gave me confidence going into my next year?
Yeah, I think little things like, I mean, hitting the scoreboard, something I didn't really do or haven't really done a lot in my career. So doing that kind of makes it, reflect on, say, junior footy when you probably playing against a lot lesser opponents. But just when you hit the scoreboard, it's just a massive confidence boost. So I think just knowing that I can do that now, that's nice to know.
Do you ask guys like Rory Laird, who seem to get 40 disposals every week, the secret to, you talk about wanting to win more ball, how do you accumulate, do you think? Do you talk to guys like that?
Yeah. I think Lairdy is just, like, he obviously prides himself on consistency and he does it week in, week out, but probably the biggest shift that I need to work on and just kind of gradually get better at, and that's just the mindset. Lairdy's feet are always moving and he's just always in the right spot at the right time, but it's just because he's switched on all the time during a game. And I think I've done that in patches, but just not a complete game, so yeah, work on.
That's it for you reckon, Sam? That it's more a mental thing than it is a physical adapting to the game? You feel like physically you're comfortable enough?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, there's so many players out there that aren't, the strongest people, but are just in the right place in the right time.
So how do you work on that?
Well, I think it's just training and using the resources around me. There's a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches, so it's just asking them and going through footage and kind of focuses leading into trainings and games.
You clearly have worked on it a fair amount. I remember sort of breakdowns in your first year and a half, maybe, where you've been 20+ centre bounces but low possessions. What changes what's the switch that flicks when you start all of a sudden getting a lot of ball in the same situations?
Yeah, I think it's all mental, and then it's kind of knowing opposition players too, and I think there's a lot of variables that kind of go into it, but mainly it's just I think a lot of it's confidence.
I'll just ask about Rory Sloane, a bit of conjecture about outside, whether he's going to continue or not as captain. I'm not going to expect you to comment on that, but what influence has he had on you, both on field and off field, and helping you settle in Adelaide and the younger midfielders? Yeah,
Sloane couldn't have been better in that sense. He's just such a personal guy. He is so knowledgeable, but he's just so happy to help, and he wants to help. And I think, even off field as well, like, he come from Victoria as also, so a lot of similarities there. And then on field, he's just always giving advice. And he's just always trying to make everyone around him better. So he's just such a great person, and he's so easy to go talk to. And he just, as I said, he just wants to help.
And I don't know, he's not back full training yet, but how's he looking on the track? And is that giving a bit of a lift that, the skipper, or could be back soon?
Well, yeah, when he's been on the track, he's been unreal, and his voice and everything, he's just such a great leader. And yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to playing alongside him again.
Speaking of voices, Tex ever shut up out there?
He's pretty vocal. See it, say it is his motto, and he goes by that pretty well.
He was giving sprays left, right and centre today. Can you sort of give us an insight into, in his later stage of his career, how sort of motivated he is to not just work on his own game, but to drive the group forward? Yeah,
I think, something we probably don't do enough being so young is just the absolute demand, and Tex just brings that, and he makes everyone around us, or around him, do it too, just for those standards. So he really drives that, and he's so good with that.
Have you been on the receiving end of one?
Yeah. I don't think there'd be many that haven't, but it's coming from a good place, and you know that.
Doesn't leave you stinging a little bit?
Oh, early days, yeah. But I think the more I've got to know him, the better I can take it.
And did the boys do anything for the leading the tackles last year? Did they get you anything? A pair of new gloves, a Velcro grip, or fly trap or something?
No, I don't think tackles are one of those things that you don't get a car, sadly. But yeah.